Good evening, Papua New Guinea and viewers all across the country. My name is Taumata, a final year student from the University of Papua New Guinea. Tonight, I'm going to relay a message to you about a paradigm shift or change in the thinking patterns of university students. Now, most of the university students, upon completion of studies, they tend to adjust their thinking on employment standard. Most think that after I finish school, I got to get employed. But we have to change the thinking pattern. We have to shift the way we think. Tonight, our basis is on money. When you look at it very carefully, most students who tend to leave school and get employed do not end up. Okay, the research has shown that 98% of the university students after completion of the school think of getting employed. Prior to this, incompetency arises. Now, after we graduate, we tend to think of employment. But you think of a grade 6 dropout, who, with the little knowledge that he has, works for his own money in a day, compared to a university student. With the little knowledge we have, we got to capitalize on the knowledge. Such in the case like a grade 6 dropout. He gets into a workplace. He does his own business and he physically sees 20,000 kina a day compared to a university student who works, a degree holder who works for 2 weeks and then 1,000 kina within 2 weeks. We have to create value out of the certificate that we have. We don't just sit in office and let the direction of the bosses do the work. At most, as PNG is made of Melanesian culture, we tend to have relatives who visit us day by day. We sit in the office. Many a times they come with a lot of requests. Some may come for the facts of bride price, for the facts of debt. And most of us who have qualification, university background, been given employment with high rankings, we tend to make excuse to help these kind of disadvantaged people back at the village. Just for the sake and the subject of money. Most of us, after finishing school, we're engaged in employment. Prior to getting employment, we just think of endeavoring a normal form of work without adding value to the work that we do, such like getting policies, in the sense that we are not just involved in a normal work system. We have to be innovative and creative enough. And many times we get employed, we are flexible. We tend to rely on the allowance that the government gives. We rely on the government, and it brings about unproductiveness, inefficiency within the corporate strategies. This is how the country has been run backward. So most of us, we have to approach acquire this 21st century mind, making sure that we instill the necessary policies. We make necessary policies that we make with the relevant skills and knowledge we acquire in universities. We don't just involve in normal work form. Most of the university students that work in government departments become non-self-reliant. They rely on the protocols, the principles of allowances. They're incompetent enough. Unlike the guy who just finished from grade 6 or grade 8, he is competent enough for the fact that he's able to raise his own family with his own financial assistance, with his own courage, the sweat he gains. So most of us who have this qualification at the level of bachelor's, maybe honors, we have no excuse to be financially competent enough to raise family, to look after them. When you look at Bill Gates, for instance, or Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, They're well-known billionaires all across the country in the United States of America. They were once university failed. They never failed. They went out to second year in studies. They had to capitalize on the little knowledge they had at the university when they were schooling. Prior to this, they capitalized on the knowledge, and then they got the results. Now they're well known. So what more do we need as you and I, degree holders, to live a successful life? The challenge comes back to you. The paradigm shift or the change in mindset of the university student has been a hot topic all across the country, as most of us, after finishing school, even though we have not been employed, we have to find some means and ways to sustain our lives. So my point is, the earning capability of the ones that are working in government departments and the ones that are working in private sectors, those who may be unqualified in some sense, but who have the earning capabilities to exceed the ones that work in the normal formal process. When you look at a guy who works in the government system, or could be a private system, but he works for someone, he may save for up to 13,000 a year. And just imagine if that someone has family, 4 kids going to school. How do we balance this case? Now, when you look at the grade 6 dropout, if he makes business, or a guy who has his own business, saves us up to 80,000 a week compared to a 30,000 a year for a guy who works in the formal employment sector. How do we balance this? We got to acquire the knowledge. For instance, like university students, we have already acquired knowledge at the basis where we could capitalize on the knowledge and create new things, be innovative, creative enough. Now, we don't have the excuse to step up, find solutions for ourselves, and be financially competent enough to look after ourselves.